Did you know that the Champions League wasn't always the flashy, star-studded affair it is today? No, it began as a humble competition known as the European Cup. Imagine a world without those heart-pounding anthem moments and Cristiano Ronaldo's iconic "Su" celebration running across crowded stadiums. Simpler times, I tell you. So take something to drink of your choice and relax. We are going to go on a wild ride through the history of the UEFA Champions League. This isn't your grandfather's dry history lecture. We're talking about the beautiful game here. So prepare for some laughs, tears, and plenty of "holy crap, did that really happen?" moments. Picture this, it's 1955, rock and roll is on the radio and some football executives decide, hey, why don't we have a tournament where the best teams from different countries duke it out? And with that, the European Cup was founded. Initially, it was a knockout tournament. There was no complicated playoffs, fancy group stages, or seedings. It was simply good old-fashioned win-or-go-home football. It was like the Wild West of European football, where anything could happen, and frequently did. Real Madrid, being Real Madrid even then, decided to win the first live title in succession. Talk about setting the bar high. It's like going to your first day of school and passing every test for 5 years in a row. Show-offs. But it wasn't all about the big boys. The European Cup had its fair share of surprises. Take Celtic in 1967, for instance. A team entirely made up of players born within 30 miles of Glasgow. No fancy foreign imports here. Went and won the whole shebang. They became known as the Lisbon Lions, which sounds more like a circus act than a football team. But hey, they earned it. What about the young, up-and-coming Jose Mourinho's Port side in 2003 and 4? Causing mayhem and winning the whole thing, surprising everybody. In 1992, someone in an expensive suit presumably stated, "You know what this tournament requires? A catchy anthem with a cool new name." And so the UEFA Champions League was founded. It's like when your father attempts to be cool by getting a new haircut and some hip clothes, but in this case, it actually works. The most significant alteration was the addition of a group stage. Instead of being eliminated after one bad day at work, teams now have the opportunity to play many matches. It's like having multiple lives in a video game. Far more merciful. This era saw the rise of some new powerhouses. Ajax's young guns took Europe by storm in 1995, led by a baby-faced Patrick Kluivert. It was like watching a bunch of teenagers crash a grown-ups party and then win all the party games. There was no better place to be as the year 2000 came to an end than the Champions League. With 32 teams in the group stage, more clubs may now eat at the top table in European football. The obvious suspects, the world's Bayern Munichs, Real Madrids, and Barcelonas, ruled this era. We did, however, also see some incredible underdog tales. Recall the 2005 Liverpool victory over AC Milan, which came back from a 3-0 deficit at the half. It reminded me of a live-action Rocky movie, less the fighting and more singing. Not to be overlooked is the unique genius we witnessed. As if it were out of style, Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo broke records and turned the sport into their own playground. It was like watching two kids argue over who would be the best in the playground. Only the playground was all of Europe. Just when you thought you had it all figured out, UEFA decides to shake things up again. From 2024, we're getting a new Swiss model format. No, this doesn't mean all the players have to eat chocolate and be really good at making watches. Instead of the traditional group stage, we're getting a league phase with 36 teams. Each team will play 8 matches against 8 different opponents. It's like speed dating, but for football clubs. The top 8 teams automatically qualify for the knockout stage, while teams finishing 9th to 24th will have a playoff to determine who else goes through. It's like musical chairs, but with more at stake than just looking silly when the music stops. Now, let's talk about those magical moments when the little guys shocked the world. Number 1. Nottingham Forest, 1979 and 1980. Imagine your local pub team winning the Champions League. That's pretty much what happened here. Under the magical guidance of Brian Clough, Forest went from the English second division to European champions in just 3 years. It's like going from flipping burgers to being a Michelin-starred chef overnight. Number 2. Red Star Belgrade, 1991. In the last year of the European Cup format, this Serbian team, then Yugoslavian, shocked everyone. They had a team full of homegrown talents who played together like they shared one brain. It was beautiful, it was unexpected, and it was the last time a team from Eastern Europe lifted the big-earned trophy. Number 3. Porto, 2004. Led by a young, charismatic manager named Jose Mourinho, whatever happened to him, Porto stunned the football world. With a team that costs less than what some clubs spend on their mascot's costume, they went all the way. It was like watching a high school drama club win an Oscar. It would be remiss to discuss the Champions League without bringing up the complete dominance that Spanish clubs have had in recent years. Spanish teams won the championship 5 times in a row from 2014 to 2018. It's as though they discovered a football magic elixir and decided not to share it with anybody. Specifically, Real Madrid elevated the situation to a new height. Between 2014 and 2018, they emerged victorious in 5 Champions Leagues, including 3 consecutive titles. It's as though they decided, after considering their own absurd track record of success, you know what, let's highlight this ridiculousness even more. Real Madrid and Atletico in the 2016 final made for an especially heated match. Imagine the most intense sibling rivalry you can think of, then multiply it by about 1 million. That's what this match was like. Real won on penalties, probably leading to some very awkward encounters at Madrid's cafes and bars in the following weeks. The Champions League has also produced some bizarre situations, like truly odd. How about Valencia and Inter Milan players brawling after a knockout game? Both sets of players went full-on Muhammad Ali and started punching each other. Inter's Burdisso suffered a broken nose from the incident. Or Liverpool's supposed ghost goal in the 2004 and 5 Champions League semi-finals against Chelsea. Mourinho has forgotten a lot of things in the past 2 decades, but this ghost goal will haunt him for the rest of his life. How about the Drogba outburst after the infamous Chelsea vs Barcelona semi-final at the Stamford Bridge in 2009? Chelsea fans to this day will claim corruption after a quite frankly ridiculous officiating from the referee, which eventually leads to our next bizarre point. Anders Frisk, a referee, withdrew from a game after getting death threats following Chelsea vs Barcelona match. It's a dark reminder that sometimes fans take things way too far. Football's supposed to be fun, folks, not a matter of life and death. So, what's your favorite Champions League moments? Was it when your team lifted the trophy? Or maybe when your rival got absolutely thrashed? Hey, we're all petty sometimes. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And while you're at it, why not share your predictions for future winners? Who knows, you might just predict the next Nottingham Forest. As we look to the future and the new Swiss model format, one thing is certain. The Champions League will continue to surprise, excite, and occasionally annoy us. But that's what we enjoy, right? Will there be more underdog stories like Ajax's run to the semi-finals in 2019? Will the new format give smaller teams a greater chance? Or will it simply reinforce the super clubs' dominance? Will someone finally break Cristiano Ronaldo's goal-scoring record, or will he return at the age of 50 to add a few more to his total? So here's the Champions League. May it continue to amaze us, infuriate us, and above all, entertain us for many years to come. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go practice my rendition of that anthem. The Champions!